The Brexit Minister, Lord Frost, says significant gaps remain with the European Union about customs arrangements in Northern Ireland after talks with his EU counterpart in Brussels. The UK is warning that it could unilaterally suspend parts of the Northern Ireland deal unless major changes are made. Now let's try and make sense of these ongoing talks and discuss what the sticking points might be. We can speak to Jess Sargeant from the Institute for Government think tank. Jess, help us with this. What's at issue here? What are they trying to resolve?
So fundamentally, the Northern Ireland Protocol creates special arrangements for Northern Ireland that allows it to maintain frictionless access to the EU market and prevents the need for a hard border on the island of Ireland. But a consequence of that is it makes it harder for businesses in Great Britain to send goods to Northern Ireland. And there are lots of concerns about the impact this might have on the ability of Northern Ireland supermarkets to stock their shelves. There's some concerns about the abilities of medicines to be sent between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And there's also this kind of principled disagreement between the UK and the EU about the fact that EU law continues to apply in Northern Ireland despite the fact that it's no longer formally part of the EU. Now, there's been several rounds of discussion on this, and it looks like there are proposals on the table to try and ease the level of checks and to remove some of the challenges that have been created on sending goods between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. But there's also a political dimension to this that perhaps is making agreement quite difficult.
So this is something that has an impact and an effect beyond Northern Ireland itself. This is affecting companies, exporters, manufacturers throughout the rest of the UK.
I think one of the things that businesses are particularly struggling with is some of the uncertainty around the arrangements, because it's not clear what the future of the Northern Ireland Protocol will be. They don't know what kind of scheme they'll need to adhere to, what requirements they'll need to meet in order to be able to send goods to Northern Ireland. But I think the main impact is really being felt in Northern Ireland. What we're actually seeing is businesses in Great Britain, in some cases, deciding that it's just too difficult to serve the Northern Ireland market. And so there is a risk that they will withdraw from that market if there isn't some kind of agreement and stability going forward.
But did they not, were they not aware that this point was going to come sooner or later? Because that arrangement was temporary, wasn't it? It was never going to be an open-ended thing. This day was going to come at some point.
So the Northern Ireland Protocol that was negotiated by this current government, by Boris Johnson, is different from the arrangements that Theresa May negotiated, in that it is intended to be permanent. I think part of the problem here comes in slightly different expectations from the UK and the EU about what exactly implementing the Northern Ireland Protocol would look like in practice. The UK said that it was expecting a degree of flexibility from the EU that would seek to try and minimise the sorts of checks and controls that might need to take place on goods between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The EU argues that it was always exactly clear what this would look like, and then therefore it doesn't necessarily agree with the UK's position that there should be changes now. Now, it has now come around to the position that perhaps additional flexibilities are needed because of the particular political circumstances in Northern Ireland itself and some concerns that have been raised by business groups. But I think this is one of the kind of recurring questions in whether what's happened is what should have been expected, and therefore what the argument is to reopen the arrangements.
And from the statement issued by the Brexit Minister, Lord Frost, it said significant gaps remain across most issues, but it concludes by saying we agreed discussions should proceed next week, and the European Commission Vice President and I will meet again on the 26th of November in London. It sounds like what these talks have agreed is to talk a little bit more, but that in itself is an achievement, given there was the hint of perhaps even ripping up the deal altogether.
I think in the last week or so, we've seen a more optimistic and cooperative tone from the UK government that has been very much welcomed by the EU. As it said in Lord Frost's statement, there has been some progress on areas particularly around medicines, but there's still some difficult outstanding issues on customs and some of the checks on certain food products like meats and such like going from Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The other thing is there are some issues that the UK wants addressed that aren't even being discussed at the moment. And I think the most important one there is the European Court of Justice. that currently has a role in deciding whether EU law is being applied correctly in Northern Ireland. This is something that the UK wants to see end, and I don't think the EU at the moment is particularly receptive to renegotiating that aspect of the arrangement. So even if we get progress on the issues that are currently under discussion, there's still going to be further political compromise necessary in order to actually reach agreement on this.
Yes, I have to say that point about the European Court of Justice doesn't feature in the statement. I doubt they've forgotten it, but if they're watching, I'm sure they'll be grateful that you've reminded them. Jess, thank you very much indeed. Jess Sargeant there.